Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
Powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. This is the Morning Sports Desk. I'm CJ Baumgartner, Corey Tackman over there. Our guy that now I'm moving to the middle is Tyler Grunewald. He's the Staples-Motley play-by-play voice, and he is joining us here to talk a little Staples-Motley Cardinal football. Tyler Grunewald, welcome back onto the program.
Hey, thanks for having me back, guys. I appreciate it. I must not have been too bad last week if you brought me on for week 2, right?
You accepted the invitation, and that's more than a lot of our guests can say.
Very good.
Let's do it here, huh, Tyler? You got a big one tonight. This is now kind of the kicks off a stretch for Staples-Motley Cardinal football. The next, is it maybe 4 weeks or something in a row? The schedule really starts to ramp up with an important road game tonight at the Hawley Nuggets.
Yeah, this is the first road game of the season, but it's 3 of the next 4 will be on the road for the Cardinals as they are on the road here against Hawley. Then they welcome Perham next week, and then they're on the road at DGF and then at Barnesville. So not exactly an easy stretch by any stretch of the imagination along that Highway 10 corridor, but it'll be a lot of good football for sure for Staples-Motley tonight as they're head to Hawley. Hawley looks to be a junior-heavy laden team, and Staples-Motley will have a lot of respect for their opponent come tonight, for sure.
And, for Staples-Motley to start out 2-0 on the season, obviously you're playing some opponents you haven't played in a while in East Grand Forks and Roseau, but, just there's always like you talked about, making sure they come ready to play in every game. What have you seen out of the first couple weeks of Staples-Motley football? What has kind of been the things that they do well? What's been kind of their identity this year?
Well, coming into the season, everybody was kind of expecting the position players, the wide receivers, the Colby Tappies, the Luke Bjergas, those guys, the Eli Ruttons to really excel and add to what they already put on their resume last year. And they've done that. And they've really not only done that in what they're doing against their opponents, but you can just see that their physicality is another level this year as compared to last year. I felt like Luke Bjergas added another gear when he runs away from people. He not only runs through them, he runs away from them now. And then also the growth maturity along that offensive defensive line as they lost a lot of key players along those lines last year as seniors. Now a lot of those juniors and some sophomores are really stepping up into those roles and really making their defensive front a force to be reckoned with as well.
So what is then like an expectation going into tonight's game? And maybe you answered it a little bit with the physicality, but they haven't been challenged too much in these first couple of games, and you do expect probably tonight to be a little bigger challenge, especially once you consider the road game. Like, from your perspective, and we don't want to get nitpicky or whatever, but like there's obvious, it's every week, right? There's always the next thing. Is it an increase in physicality here tonight that's going to be important, or is something else that stands out?
The Cardinals' mantras this season is respect all, fear none. And they're kind of going into each game, one game at a time, just seeing how they match up against these different schools that they haven't played for a couple of seasons, really to test themselves. I think the Cardinals want to see I think they know what they have with their senior class, but they're still looking for more playmakers on that, maybe the juniors and even some of the sophomores and freshmen now as Neeson's come on, Caden Neeson's come on as a kicker on special teams, but also in some of those bonus minutes for some of the younger talent. He's really shined running the ball and catching the ball on offense as well, and making plays as the interception last week on defense as well as. So really that physicality, owning that line of scrimmage, really controlling the line of scrimmage and making sure that you're not the one getting pushed back and taking care of business, and also cleaning up the penalties as the Cardinals had 9 penalties last week. After speaking to Coach Potter earlier in the week, he wasn't too concerned as there wasn't a lot of stupid penalties. It was a lot of aggressive penalties or things that he didn't quite see compared to what the referee's vantage point was. So cleaning up some of those things, though, and just staying disciplined and not and respecting your opponent. I think that's the biggest things that are going to come out of tonight as the Cardinals really test themselves the first time on the road this week.
I know you had a little bit of interaction with the Hawley head coach. I know you kind of had a chance to peek at their stats a little bit here. What's the game plan against Hawley? What do they do well? What are things that Cardinal fans tonight should be looking out for in this opponent in the Nuggets?
I think the Cardinals have to be ready for Hawley football. They're going to do what Hawley does, and they're going to try and run the ball. They're going to throw some trick plays in there, and they're going to pass the ball. It's kind of a smorgasbord of junior talent, and just kind of seeing which one of those players for Hawley really emerges as that kind of go-to player. That's really going to be kind of key for the Cardinals. As it's going to be kind of a more different type of a test, as you're not going to be keen on one specific player. You're going to kind of have to see who's going to be that X factor tonight for the Hawley Nuggets.
Well, it's a really cool setting in Hawley. I know, Tyler, you've been there before. In about 3 or 4 weeks' time, when those leaves really convert to a full fall change, it's beautiful on the backside of that school there and at that football field. But also, finally, and I guess I mean this more as it's about time. You have to have a regular kickoff. You finally get a 7:00 kickoff rather than these early starts. No early outs for you tonight.
No, that's okay though. I have a brother who lives in Hawley, so maybe I'll go visit the 1-year-old nephew before the game. Give me a little bit of a chance to do some of that family time before the kickoff, I guess.
Or go crash on his couch after the game if it's a late one. So
yeah, we'll see. I might after. We'll see how the game goes.
Hey, Corey had a double overtime game last week, so anything is possible.
You never know, and that's what's fun about Friday Night Football. You just really never know until they go out and start playing, and then you can be surprised about some of the scores. Like last week, even the Hawley score last night against Warroad, losing by 1 point. That was kind of a surprise final score that Zeke and I were scratching our heads out last week. So yeah, looking forward to it tonight with Zeke.
Tyler Grunewald, the Staples-Motley play-by-play voice, joining us here on the Morning Sports Desk. You can listen on 98.5 FM, AM 1430, KNSP The Fan, 640 pregame, 7:00 kickoff. Join Tyler Grunewald and Zeke Foreman for all the action on The Fan. Tyler, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
See you, Tyler.
That's Tyler Grunewald, Staples-Motley Cardinal play-by-play voice, joining us here on the Morning Sports Desk. Corey, we have a couple volleyball games that we are going to recap. We are also going to preview Wadena Deer Creek's football game tonight against Otter Tail Central in a Bulldogs and Wolverine matchup. First, why don't we shout out the good folks at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
Well, of course, I got to remind you again that you could win a Nintendo Switch 2 and a 50-inch TV in the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade's Ultimate Prize Giveaway. Here's how you enter. If you already are a FunZone Rewards member, you have an account, you're automatically entered. It was that easy. If you're not a member yet, scan the QR code. You'll see it up at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. You can scan it right now if you're watching the Morning Sports Desk on YouTube. You can find it on their Facebook page. Just scan it and join. You have until the end of the month, September 30th, for your automatic entry. It's the ultimate prize giveaway, a Nintendo Switch 2 and a 50-inch TV. It could be yours thanks to the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
All right, Corey, you had a little Heart of Lakes volleyball last night. Let's keep the Cardinal theme going. It was the Cardinals. It was the Yellow Jackets. It was at the Hive. What do you got?
Well, it was kind of interesting because it's week 2 of the conference season in the Heart of Lakes. And every team in the Heart of Lakes conference had played a conference match except for Staples-Motley. So it was their first conference matchup of the season. They had to go on the road to the Hive in Perham. And I talked to both coaches before the game. It was funny. I couldn't do a full, complete interview with Yellow Jackets head coach Paige Thompson because she was doing the PA for the JV volleyball match. So I caught her in between sets and got starters and things like that. But she was announcing names and just going crazy on the mic, which was pretty fun. I actually offered her just to call the varsity game on the radio if she wanted to. She's like, I guess I better do my actual job. But both coaches when I asked, we're about a quarter of the way now through the season, I said, well, how you playing? How's your team playing? And both coaches effectively said, well, it depends on which team wants to show up. Coach Besselin said, we're still trying to find that right rotation, that right camaraderie, that right communication, who needs to be where when they need to be there. There's just some of that learning process that's still going on with the team. For Coach Thompson, it was more of are we going to be geared up and ready to play? If we're geared up and ready to play, we can play pretty decent volleyball. If we're not geared up and ready to play, it can be a struggle for us. And last night, it was not a struggle for the Yellow Jackets. They ended up winning in 3, 25-7, 16, and 22 were the scores of those 3 sets. Addie Hackle, the junior, led the Yellow Jackets. By the way, only one senior on the roster for Perham. She had 11 kills. She was the lone player in double-digit kills. For the night. Jocelyn Griffin, the left-handed sophomore, had 5. And then obviously there was a spattering. Maybe the big story for the Yellow Jackets, they had a combined team effort of 13 service aces. So that's really helpful. And then obviously you can switch that service ace story over to the other side where the Cardinals just struggled to return serves and receive serves all night long. Annie Schlosser had 8 kills to lead the Cardinals. Abby Brkacik was right there with 5 as well. They had 5 service aces as a team. But the Yellow Jackets improved to 2-0 in Heart of Lakes Conference play. The Cardinals fall to 0-1 in HOL play. Both teams head to tournaments this weekend. And once we get through this weekend, I think it's officially like the quarter mark of the volleyball season. So again, it was the Yellow Jackets over the Cardinals in the 3 Heart of Lakes Conference volleyball last night.
Yeah, crazy to think we're already to that point where we're talking about how far along in the season we are. And it was the same thing for Bertha-Hewitt and New York Mills last night. Park Region Conference volleyball. And yeah, like you said, both teams are kind of at that point where they're like, hey, we feel like we like our athleticism. We feel like we like this or that. We just need that night in and night out basis. And it was a battle not only of 2 teams in the Park Region Conference, but 2 teams who were looking for their first Park Region Conference win on the year. Bertha-Hewitt was 0-1 in PRC play, and this was the first conference game for New York Mills in 2025. Not only that, both teams were playing with first-year head coaches. Bertha-Hewitt has Sammy McDaniel, who was an assistant on the Bertha-Hewitt staff for the last few years, and then head coach Brooke Zastro decided to take a step back. She's an assistant coach, and then Coach McDaniel moved from an assistant to head, so just kind of did the old switcheroo there. And I talked with her about that. I'm like, obviously you have the former head coach who's still on staff, but how do you want to build the program in your image? What are the things you want to do? And she said, honestly, she was doing a lot of great things. We're just trying to build on that. We were kind of doing it together anyways. Now I'm just the one who's, at the coin toss or whatever, at the beginning of matches and things like that. I'm just the one who's the varsity head coach. And so it was really fascinating in that way. For New York Mills, Harley Wurst is the new head coach there. She said she's been on the New York Mills coaching staff immediately after graduating from New York Mills about 7 seasons ago. And she was on the staff on the bench C team, kind of moving up to JV. And then this year taking over for Coach Olson. Some big shoes to fill in that New York Mills Eagle volleyball program. And not only that, but also just big shoes to fill in terms of the players that they have on the court. They graduated 4 seniors a year ago, and she said all of them played. And of course, Ayla Olson was the highlight of that, having over 1,000 kills, 1,000 assists, 1,000 digs. She did it all. And that's a hard player's production to make up for. Still, we're returning Gabby Vaden, who's a senior this year. She was Park Region All-Conference a year ago. All-Conference honorable mention was Annika Dunrud. She came back. And so overall, that's a New York Mills team that has a mix of veteran talent and young talent coming up. And Bertha-Hewitt is the exact same way. And that's basically, you saw it a little bit. You saw the veteranness come through at times, then you also saw the inexperience come through at times. Bertha-Hewitt won this match 3-0, 25-14 in the first set, 25-20 in the second, 25-18 in the third to wrap this one up. For Bertha-Hewitt, they were led in kills by Kendall Bayard, who had 11. Piper Dean had 8. Jasmine Williams, a sophomore, had 6. Eliana Broughton had 4. Jocelyn Hauer had 3. And then also, by the way, for Piper Dean, to go with her 8 kills, had 4 service aces. For New York Mills, Annika Dunrud had 7 kills. Olivia Price had 6. 4 for Vaden, a 3 for Elise Shornack, 3 for Chloe Costin as well. And Vaden also had 3 service aces on her ledger as well. For Bertha-Hewitt, they had to make up for losing a 2000 career set assist setter in Georgia Wishala. She graduated, and the new setter is a sophomore, Jocelyn Hauer. Some young shoes to fill, and talked with Coach McDaniel, like, hey, what is it about that? What do you see? Is the thought kind of just, hey, she's young, let's give her an opportunity and let's have her grow in that role? And she said, yeah, that pretty much was the thought process behind that. And they really do like some of the sophomores that they have at Bertha-Hewitt as well. So again, some younger players for New York Mills getting time, some younger players for Bertha-Hewitt. Overall, Bertha-Hewitt was just a little more in control, just a little more in groove. They were able to get into their offense a little more seamlessly. And just for New York Mills, a few of those mistakes just kind of compounded as the match went on, and they just weren't quite able to dig themselves out of them. Really nice Park Region Conference matchup between two teams. Bertha-Hewitt now goes to 6-3 on the year, and New York Mills goes to 2-6. Both teams are off for the weekend. They will not be playing in any tournaments, and now they will both play at the beginning part of next week to face section matchups for their schools. We have full write-ups, by the way, coming up when you can check out WDenaRadio.com or Sports Cow on Facebook.
Moo.
I
do really, though, want to encourage, CJ, I think it's a point of emphasis here. Let me tell you all of the stuff that we put up into the local sports section of WDenaRadio.com just today. Okay, just today we have, what is it? It's the 12th. So let's go to make sure I get to the 12th. Here are the headlines. Cardinals sweep Huskies fly to girls runner-up at PRB invite. Area volleyball scoreboard. Area football schedule week 3. Girls tennis Brainerd over Bemidji. Girls tennis Parkers Prairie over Wadena Deer Creek. Volleyball Perham over Staples-Motley. Girls tennis Morris area, Chicago, Alberta, West Central area over BBE. Those are stories just up today. We are inundating that local sports section at WDenaRadio.com. So the Sports Cow really is the bell cow of Central Minnesota high school sports. Check it out one more time. A hearty moo for you.
Moo. How long were you waiting to say the bell cow of high school sports, or did that just come to you?
I've been saying it for since we got the Facebook page. The bell cow of high school sports is Sports Cow.
It is. A hearty move for all those in attendance. It's a great spot to check out. Zeke does such a great job with the cross-country coverage. I know that they appreciate it. You do a great job with the girls' tennis coverage and, of course, the volleyball and things like that. So there's a lot of great local content up there for you to check out from every school across the region. Go check it out at Sports Cow on Facebook or WDenaRadio.com underneath the local sports section. By the way, if you click on that Sports Cow on the main page, Corey, it takes you to where it's just an individualized list of all of the schools in the area. So if you want to check out what's going on in Parkers Prairie or Battle Lake or Staples-Motley, you just click on those and boom, there's all the stories there for you. And you don't have to really go that far. So we try and do it all over at Sports Cow, including, by the way, previewing a football game tonight between Wadena Deer Creek and Otter Tail Central. Just had a chance to talk with both head coaches to record some pregame interviews, and both teams are excited. These are two teams that want to run the football. They want to grind you to dust, and in a couple different ways. Obviously, Wadena Deer Creek is that triple option, so it forces teams to stay disciplined. They have to try and figure things out. You have to, you don't know who could get the ball on any particular play, so if you're not disciplined, they're going to attack that soft spot per se. And for Otter Tail Central, they want to win the battle in the trenches. They want to be physical. They want to just run the ball up the gut. They want to run the ball at you, and they don't want to give it up. And both coaches, I think, expect a tough game, a fast-paced game in terms of the fact that the clock is just going to run a lot. And the rain, obviously, I know it's kind of stopped here this morning in Wadena, which is where the game's going to be at, but also could rain again throughout the day, and that could also impact things as well. Coming into this matchup, Wadena Deer Creek is 1-1 on the year with victories, with a victory against Long Prairie Gray Eagle, and then they had a loss last week against Lake Park Audubon. For Otter Tail Central, they're 2-0 on this season. They got a win over Ashby Brandon Evansville in week 1, and then a win over New York Mills in week 2. So the Bulldogs looking to go 3-0 on the year. For Wadena Deer Creek, it's their home opener tonight And they're going to try and see if they can win one in front of the home faithful. It's always tough when your first 2 games are on the road because it feels like you're in the full swing of the football season. And you're like, wait, I haven't even played a game on my home field yet. Like, what's happening here?
Football!
So, yeah, it's going to be it'll be a good one for Wadena Deer Creek. I know they had a couple bumps and bruises. They're hoping to overcome some injuries here. And for Otter Tail Central, talking with Coach Olson, he said, we're in a good spot through the first quarter of the season. We're fully healthy. It's exactly where we want to be. And so it's just going to be a battle of attrition. This game is going to be decided by a couple things. Who wins the trenches, obviously. And secondly is turnovers. We talk about the ball potentially being wet, that causing fumbles. For Wadena Deer Creek, they had turnovers kind of in their first couple games that Coach Petermeyer said we really want to correct because we felt like we could have ran away with the week 1 game and not had to sweat it out so much. We just don't turn the ball over as much. And 2, he said last week against Lake Park Audubon, part of the reason things kind of spiraled out of control for us is because we coughed up the football early, gave the other team short fields, and then all of a sudden, you're just before you can even catch your breath, you just have a big hole to try and dig out of. So for Wadena Deer Creek and for Otter Tail Central, both those coaches, great coaching staffs, they're going to emphasize holding on to the football, winning the battle in the trenches, and whichever team is able to do that better is likely going to come out winning this game. It's a very cliche answer, Corey, but a reason it's cliche is because it's true.
Football!
There's a lot of great football this week, man. There's been a lot of great football the first couple weeks of the varsity football season. It's so cool to see all that come back to Central Minnesota. Remember, we'll have scores updated online at wadenaradio.com or when you follow Sports Cow on Facebook. I mean, look at this, Corey. You got Uppsala Swanville area versus Belgrade Bruton El Rosa. That's always a fun matchup of rivals in Section 5A. I know in 9-man, it's Bertha-Hewitt versus Ferndale tonight, which is always a fun rivalry. New York Mills, Parker's Prairie, Breckenridge, Frazee. There's just a couple different rivalries here that have come around and should be a really fun night of football across Central Minnesota.
Nice. Yeah, can't wait. Love football. Love Fridays. Love them when they're together. Let's football.
Football. Let's talk a little more football, Corey. The Gophers go out west for not Pac-12 after dark. It is Big 12 ACC. What is Cal? I think ACC.
It's Big 10. It's Big 10 football.
Big 10 football after dark. It's going to be a 9:30 kickoff on ESPN. How are we feeling about that?
I don't like it at all, but ask me if I'm going to watch.
Are you going to watch?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's worth it. Are you going to scream on a third down play the Gophers don't convert and have your wife kind of glare at you like you're going to wake the kids up? Yes. Yes, that will happen. But it should be a good football game. 2 teams that are 2-0 to start the year, 2 kind of sneaky, decent college football programs in the Gophers and Cal. And this is just a matchup you don't get very often. The Gophers usually don't go out to Berkeley to play them in football. So that's kind of the fun part of the non-conference schedule. Yeah, you got to slog through your Northwestern states and your Buffaloes, but then every once in a while you get a good matchup where you take on the Golden Bears of Cal.
Both teams have really not played anybody this year.
Yeah.
So I think this is I think this is the official first challenge for both clubs, and it's like first year quarterbacks. It's whatever. I mean it's whatever. This is now it's going to be fun to see where the Gophers are at. Does anybody expect national championships from the Gophers or even to win the conference at this point? No.
Or even a college football playoff appearance?
Yeah, they just want them to be good and competitive and play on a New Year's Day, play after New Year's. Or something, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you'll learn
a bowl game that's not a participation trophy.
Yeah, the one where they got to pour mayonnaise on their coach.
Flavor Flav pours mayonnaise on there.
The only weird one I'm willing to allow the Gophers to be in at this point is the Pop-Tart Bowl.
The Pop-Tart Bowl, baby. Got some Pop-Tarts right here.
What flavor you go with?
This is strawberry. This was the first one I saw at the store. Strawberry, blueberry, cherry. Those are kind of my go-tos.
You don't go I love the s'mores Pop-Tarts.
They're good, but I'm not going to buy a whole pack of them. Probably.
Here's the thing, though. You got to heat them up. They're fine room temperature if you heat them up. Do you like s'mores? Then these are pretty good. Jen had some Pop-Tarts out front yesterday. Yeah. She goes with the chocolate chip, and she claims the same thing. They're fine room temperature, but if you heat them up,
Yeah.
now we're talking.
Almost anyone with Pop-Tart with chocolate, you have to heat up.
Shout out Pop-Tarts.
Shout out Pop-Tarts. Shout out the Unfrosted movie starring Jerry Seinfeld.
I am the only person on the planet who liked that movie.
I still haven't seen it yet, and I have been making a point to try and see it, and then every time I just forget.
It is, I'd say this about too many movies. It is not good. It's so silly. Like, it's just a bad comedy with a ton of people. And like, if you approach this any differently than you did the Happy Gilmore movie, you're doing it wrong.
Right. You're just going to go kind of turn your brain off for a couple hours, get a couple gags and make you go, all right, that one's good.
Pretty much. You just need 90 minutes. That's it. That's it.
Exactly. That's all it needs to be. It doesn't outstay its welcome. It's all that good stuff. It's like you said, Corey, it's a battle between two teams that really haven't played anybody, their first real test. You know, I feel like depending on how this game goes, whichever team wins is a good kind of chance now to try and claim like a top 20, like a top 25-ish, like the 20 to 25-ish range, depending on how things play out over the weekend. It'll be interesting to see how it all shakes up for the Golden Gophers as they do, again, not Pac-12 after dark. That was the best branding ESPN had, was their college football games was Pac-12 after dark, and they were just willing to get weird on the broadcast. The only problem is everybody still went to sleep, which
yes,
it's inevitably why the Pac-12 fell apart. I just feel like is because nobody watched their games because they all played when everybody went to bed.
Only the Pac-12 cares about the Pac-12.
Exactly. People care about Oregon. People cared about Washington when Penix was there. People cared about Stanford when Andrew Luck was there.
Yep.
But other than the Sun Devils, I guess. But, you know, they had to move to the Big 12 to get the notoriety.
Sure.
So, anyway, row the boat, Sky, go Gophers, all that good stuff. All right. Football game between the Vikings and the Falcons. Revenge for 1998, Corey?
No. No, nothing will make me feel better about that. Nothing.
No. I was watching NFL did their game preview, and they just played an unedited clip of like 90 seconds of the championship game of them missing the field goal.
Yeah.
Like the build up to them. Like, why are you doing this? They just like stopped their game preview to show you like 3 minutes of the Falcons Vikings game from 98. I'm like, did you just get lazy with your game prep? I'm like, I don't know. Just show some clips of that game. Move on to the next one. Like, I was like, I just had to skip past. I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, this happened so long ago. Anyway, the real storyline is Michael Penix versus J.J. McCarthy, a rematch of the two national championship quarterbacks from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I know. That's without a doubt the most like quirky thing about this matchup. I don't know how, like, the Sunday night, it's the home opener. I got to be honest. I just like generally feel, and I'm jumping around in the conversation, I know, but like the Vikings have a lot of things that are working against them as far as injuries go. Like Blake Cashman went on the IR and somebody else too.
Ty Chandler.
But like, it's their home opener. The Falcons,
home opener, as we learned with the Bears, gives you some juice.
The Falcons aren't winning this one. The Vikings are winning this one. It will be fun to watch those quarterbacks. I'm obviously excited to see how J.J. McCarthy performs after that week one turnaround, you know?
Mm-hmm, exactly. And the biggest thing, will they get Christian Darrisaw back? Because if you like rewatch a lot of the game, there have been a lot of people who've broken down the game, whether you're Kurt Warner, Dan Orlovsky, or the QB school guy, and they talk about a lot of the things that the Vikings did. And then a lot of times you just go back and there's just plays where the left tackle's just getting beat right off the jump. And getting Darrisaw back, if Darrisaw played in that game and was fully healthy, I promise you the Vikings don't start off that bad. Like, because you're just having one guy not get beat every single time. So having Darrisaw back would definitely help things out for the Vikings. That's obviously a big one. But yeah, I think Minnesota's going to win this game just for the fact that it's the home opener. They have the juice. They have the momentum rolling here. And, you know, does Drake London play for Atlanta? Does he not? It's just an interesting a battle between these two teams. Because remember last year, you know, Kirk Cousins, who was in the later stages of his starting career, he was already starting to kind of fall apart. But they still hung with the Vikings for like the first 3 quarters of that football game before they just decided to stop covering Justin Jefferson down the field. And Sam Darnold threw like 5 touchdowns. And that was the game where they put him on the camera and they were chanting MVP and he was waving the towel while Kirk Cousins was on the other side throwing bad interceptions. Like it was a very interesting game last year. And so this will be the big thing. Quarterbacks in their first game at US Bank Stadium always struggle. Like you saw it last year with CJ Stroud. You saw with like some, Caleb Williams went in there and just got eaten alive by the crowd. Like Michael Penix was there last year. So like, it's not that he's doesn't have a taste of US Bank Stadium, but he also doesn't have a taste of being the guy on the field trying to figure out how to make your checks and how to see the field and how to read a Brian Flores defense, which still is as disgusting as ever. That'll be the interesting thing, because if Michael Penix looks any poised at all, because you've seen, Drew Brees, Jared Goff, some of these other quarterbacks that have been here before kind of know how to navigate that crowd. But still, that'll, how that works will be interesting. The other thing is with Michael Penix, I really wanted the Vikings to draft Michael Penix. I thought, like, out of all the quarterbacks in that draft, Drake May was probably my favorite one. But, I thought he was unattainable. I was dead wrong about Jaden Williams. I thought that guy wasn't going to be or Jaden Daniels, excuse me. I thought he wasn't going to be any good at all. Turns out he was really good. Caleb Williams, I thought it was talented, but always kind of was question mark for me. Plus he was getting drafted by the Bears. So out of spite, I just never wanted him to succeed. I was out on Bo Nix. I still am, but I really thought out of all the quarterbacks that were attainable for the Vikings, Michael Penix would have been my guy had he been available. And we never get to know the story because the Falcons obviously famously drafted him before anybody thought he was going to go. But it'll be interesting to see kind of these quarterbacks that the Vikings could have potentially had.
Yeah, and it'll be important. Obviously, every game is different, but Penix is not going to overthrow DJ Moore in the top right corner.
Right. Or on a 4th down slant across the middle, just whiff.
Yeah, so he is a little more capable of completing. I've seen some things like Caleb Williams, like bad throw percentage, which is a thing that is tracked on Pro Football Reference. For his career, which isn't long, but for his career is 21%, and he was 26% in the game against the Vikings. And like as a point of reference, like Spencer Rattler, who is universally despised as a bad throw of the football, was at like 16% in week 1. So like that's how bad Caleb Williams is on his bad throw percentage. Penix is not going to be that bad. So I don't know. I'm just this answer is super simple, but I just get excited for the Vikings every single week until
proven otherwise.
It's not worth being excited for. So
if somebody's leg snaps in half, then it's a little less. But yeah, I mean, I think the Vikings win this football game. I think, I don't really have a score prediction, but I feel like it's going to be one where, the Vikings last week, I haven't fully watched the video yet, but I watched like kind of the first quarter of JT O'Sullivan does the QB school, and he famously breaks down film of quarterbacks.
It's really good.
He's really good. And it's really good to watch other people watch film, because they'll talk about like, yeah, you see, this is a basic concept. People do it all the time. I'm like,
yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
Of course. Like, what an idiot. Who wouldn't know that? And he's like, the Vikings tried with McCarthy. Remember we talked about like, how do the Vikings do? Do they put training wheels on him? And they did. Not only did they try and run the football like on the very first play, but a lot of those passes were like simple, just quick mesh, where like both wide receivers are just kind of going right out over the middle. Very simple concepts. And it was when they got behind where they were like, all right, we just kind of have to start ramping you up a little bit here. And he was able to rise to that. And I feel like, will the Vikings still do that? Maybe they'll have a couple plays early on that'll just meant to get him a couple quick completions and into the game. But I don't think they're going to have the training wheels on for near as long as they did in week 1. And that was probably the plan anyways. But, the Vikings, not that they're going to come out and start throwing 50 yards downfield, but it certainly feels like they are going to be a little more aggressive in throwing the football early on in the football game. And the other reason also, too, for that will be Justin Jefferson, who, like, had a press conference yesterday and talked, like, 5 different ways of, like, I had a bad game here. He's like, I ran bad routes. I didn't catch a ball when I needed to. Like, he's going to be a little more motivated to be like, I didn't have a great week 1. And part of that goes to jitters. He also didn't play with McCarthy really at all in preseason because he was hurt. So there's a little bit of catching up they have to do, which is why I believe the Vikings will win, just because you've shaken off that week 1 rust, still were able to get a win, and now you can kind of build off that in week 2.
I do think emotions are going to be a little high. Did his wife or fiance, JJ's, did she ever baby yet?
She had the baby yesterday because McCarthy missed practice.
I knew he was gone, but I wasn't sure if the baby had showed up. So, like, we're talking about a kid who is 21 years old, who just had his first kid and is now off player of the week and an unbelievable emotional victory, and now gets to experience his home opener. Emotions are going to be high. Like your point, like you said, they're not going to come out and just throw 50 times a game. But I also imagine, like, let's get some of those easy routes, build a little confidence, let emotions kind of tamp down a little bit, because you don't want to be flying so high you can't contain yourself either. Do you want to, can I spring this on you? Do you want to play a game?
Yeah, why not? Wait. This is like a Saw thing, or is this a...
Do you want to play a game?
Well, if that's the tone, then no.
I'm stealing this idea that is very popular on the internet. Can you rank these Vikings wide receivers without knowing who comes next?
Okay. Like a blind ranking.
Okay.
Okay. What?
Okay.
Top 3. What are we talking here?
You weren't listening. I said top 10.
Okay. Top 10.
We can do top 5 if you want to do top 5. I had AI put together the top 15 wide receivers in Vikings history.
Okay.
I have added them to a random spinning wheel. I will spin the wheel. If you need to know anything about them, I can give you information about them, but I want you to rank them without knowing who's next.
All right.
I gave you more than 10, which might make this interesting.
All right. Yeah. So I can't just wait for Randy Moss because he might not show up, or Chris.
He might not even make the list. That's exactly right. Are you ready for this one?
All right, let's do it.
Your first name is, as we spin the wheel, is Anthony Carter. What can you tell me? Where do you want to rank Anthony Carter?
All right, Anthony Carter.
Information on Anthony, I can give it to you.
I mean, yeah, obviously the lesser known Carter wide receiver who plays for the Vikings.
Yes.
If we're going top, what was it? Do you have like his career touchdowns, or just give me like one quick stat about him?
This is how he is described via my AI research. A dynamic and speedy receiver who was a key part of the Vikings offense in the late 80s and early 90s, a multi-time Pro Bowl selection known for his big playability. Anthony Carter.
Well, because I already kind of have my list in my head, I'm probably just going to rank him like 7th.
Anthony Carter is going to go on the number 7 slot. Okay, that's very good. We go back to the wheel. We remove him and we spin again.
Dun 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 dun.
And we land on Ahmad Rashad.
Ooh, Ahmad Rashad.
Ahmad Rashad, 4-time Pro Bowl selection, versatile, reliable receiver in the late 70s and early 80s, known for his sure hands and clutch catches.
I do like me some Ahmad Rashad.
Yes.
I'm going to put him 6th.
Ahmad Rashad goes 6th on your list. Okay, that's pretty good. So you've got 6 and 7 taken up as we spin again.
Dun 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 dun.
And we land on Sidney Rice.
Ooh, Sidney Rice. Fun receiver. Obviously had his best years with Brett Favre. He's got to go 10 on this list.
You're going to put Sidney at 10 on the list. Okay, that's pretty good. Just some info. His best year, 09.
The Seahawks, by the way.
What's that?
Super Bowl champion with the Seahawks.
That's right. He had one monster season, not a long tenure with the Vikings. That monster year, 09 with Favre, like you mentioned. He had over 1,300 yards and 8 touchdowns and was a Pro Bowl selection that year.
Ripped up the Cowboys in that playoff game.
Oh, I hate the Cowboys. All right, we get rid of him and we spin the wheel again. You have slots 6, 7, and 10 used up so far. And now we land on Stefon Diggs.
Ooh, all right. Diggs. This is a good one. Obviously, the Minneapolis Miracle Man. My roommate in college, by the way, bought Stefon Diggs' jersey when he had that punt return in the Hall of Fame game.
Sure.
I saw that and bought his jersey. All he was some 5th round guy. He's like, I bought his jersey before anybody else did. So he gets, my college roommate gets the claim to fame. on that one for having a Diggs jersey before anybody else. I love me Stephon Diggs. I know he's a weirdo. I know he does some things. I know nobody wants him to date their sister. There's still, as a player, there is nothing you can do to make me hate Stephon Diggs. I know everybody wants to turn him into a villain for how he left the Vikings. By the way, his reason wasn't wrong. You can't make me hate Stephon Diggs. I'm going to go 4.
Stephon Diggs at number 4. I like that spot. Let's get him off the list. We remove and spin. You have 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and 9 remaining here, CJ. And this time we land on Sammy White. Let me tell you about Sammy White. A 2-time Pro Bowler and NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year in 1976. The key target for Fran Tarkenton during the Vikings Super Bowl era.
I feel like I got to go 9.
Okay, you're going to put Sammy White down at number 9. Let's get rid of him, and we will spin again. 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8 are your open slots, CJ. And we land on Chris Carter. Do I need to tell you anything about him?
All he does is catch touchdowns, from what I hear. The Vikings claimed him off waivers for the Eagles for $100. The best $100 the franchise has ever spent.
Easily.
Buddy Ryan had to cut Chris Carter. He says that all the time in Philadelphia. Chris Carter on this list, he's going to go 3.
Wow, interesting. I am totally surprised by that. He's my favorite Viking of all time. I would have absolutely put him at number 1.
By the way, a lot of franchises, he is number 1. The Vikings just have had just such talented wide receivers.
All right, so we'll get him off the list. I disagree. I disagree with the number 3 slot, but this isn't my ranking. This is your ranking, and now we land on who's it going to be? Jake Reed.
Ooh, Jake Reed. This is where the blind ranking stinks because he might get put in a weird spot, but I just kind of already have. I'm hoping things kind of fall into place. What spaces do I have left again?
1, 2, 5, and 8.
Obviously the Carter Moss Reed. You said 5 is open?
5 is open.
Oh, this is where the blind ranking is tough because.
I'm
gonna.
Well, he's not 1 or 2, so yeah. we know that, right? Like,
I'm trying to decide between 5 and 8. I'm gonna put some respect on his name. I'm gonna go 5.
Okay, Jake. So this is where now this is where you start getting in trouble here because you have Chris Carter and Jake Reed just 2 spots apart in the all-time list. But hey, that's your list, and this is the blind ranking. That's the fun of this.
Yep.
Let's get him out of here. Let's spin again and see who we come up with. 1, 2, and 8 remain as we land on Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. All right. Number 1.
Wow, that's just such a ballsy pick.
Number 1, man. Justin Jefferson, when it's all said and done, is going to be.
But it's not all said and done. It's only right now.
I like what I see. I think it's going to happen. I'm willing to start it right now. The records he's already he's broken so many of Randy Moss's records already, so I can't put Randy Moss ahead of him in my mind. And yeah, so I just feel like Justin Jefferson, when his career is all said and done, he's on the track. There's no reason for me to think that train is going to go off the tracks right now. Justin Jefferson, number 1.
All right. That's perfectly fine logic. I'm compelled to, I would have had Carter 1, Jefferson 2. That would have been my order. But again, it's random, so that makes this impossible. Let's spin again. You have slots 2 and 8 remaining. I know you were just waiting for Jefferson to get picked. All right. We land on John Gilliam. Now, maybe you know who John Gilliam is, but let me tell you if you don't. A big play receiver for the Vikings in the 70s, dangerous deep threat with a career average of 20 yards per reception with the team. John Gilliam.
I mean, he's got to go 8 at this point. There's just no other great spot to put him in, which is going to mean that there's a good chance Bernard Berry is number 2 on this list.
We'll go through your list and then we'll compare who AI says is the top 15.
All
so
right.
We get him out of here. This will be your number 2 receiver as we continue to spin through the wheel here, and it is going to be it's a more hilarious answer even than Bernard Varian. It is Hassan Jones. Who's Hassan Jones, CJ?
Oh,
as it says here, a solid, consistent receiver for the Vikings for 7 seasons, a career best year in 1989 with 912 yards and 7 touchdowns. Okay, are you ready for your top 10?
Yeah, congratulations to you, man. You're number 2. Good job.
So in order, you have Justin Jefferson number 1. By blind ranking, spinning of the wheel, Hassan Jones ends up at number 2. Congratulations to him. Chris Carter's your number 3. Stephon Diggs 4. Jake Reed 5. Ahmad Rashad 6. Anthony Carter 7. John Gilliam 8. Sammy White 9. And Sidney Rice is 10. Okay, let me give you just really quickly the 15 according to my AI research in order.
Okay.
This has Chris Carter as the number 1 receiver in Vikings history.
Sure.
Okay. You had him at number 3 by the blind ranking. I'm only saying it to make fun of you. Number 2 on this list is Randy Moss. That's the one we were waiting to show up, right?
Yep, that was what the number 2 slot was being held up for Randy, and Randy, in typical Randy fashion, decided to blow it up.
Justin Jefferson on this list is number 3. You had him at number 1. Number 4 on this list, CJ, is Anthony Carter. Anthony Carter, you had at number 7. Number 5, Adam Thielen, who didn't show up in our wheel spin here today. Number 6 is Sammy White. You had him at 9. Number 7 is Jake Reed. You had him at 5. Number 8, Ahmad Rashad, who you put at 6. Number 9 is Stephon Diggs, who you love, had him at number 4. Percy Harvin's at number 10. He didn't show up. Gene Washington at number 11. He didn't show up. John Gilliam at number 12. You had him at 8. Hassan Jones at 13. By sheer dumb luck, you had to put him at 2. Paul Flatley was number 14, and Sidney Rice number 15.
Yeah, outside of the second one, I don't hate my list.
No,
that was the only one I got pigeonholed in, kind of. It kind of depends on how you look at it. If you look at longevity with the team versus eras versus whatever. I don't hate this list. I think we could go with that.
You did mostly okay. And I think if we would have narrowed it down to the top 10 receivers, you would have been able to kind of navigate it a little easier. But that's the fun.
What's the fun in that if you can't? Yeah.
You're right. Having those extra ones in is it adds a little excitement to it. So I don't know. Maybe we'll try running backs or defensive linemen or something as the season goes along next week.
We're not going to do like top centers. It's just Mick Tinglehoff and the rest of the list.
Matt Burke.
Yeah. It goes Mick Tinglehoff, Matt Burke, and
let's see. Hold on. Let me see if it gives me who are the 15 best centers.
Number 4, Garrett Bradbury.
Minnesota Vikings history.
I mean, John Sullivan had an okay run, but he didn't hold up that long.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, it gives me 8.
8.
It gives me 8.
This franchise has been around for 60 years, by the way. 65 years, by the way.
This is amazing. I'm gonna keep this because we're gonna do the centers next week.
All right, good. All right. It's a torture. It's a monster of my own creation. It's a prison of my own mind.
Did this to yourself.
I did this to myself. All right. Vikings win. I think Vikings win. All right. Vikings win. Gophers win.
Twins lose. Lynx win. Lynx open up the playoffs on Sunday.
Yes, they do. What else do we got going on? That's about it.
The MVP.
Who's the MVP?
Fee. She's gonna win.
Oh, of course.
She's the MVP. What else is there? Gopher Volleyball's hosts a tournament this weekend.
Yep. Women's hockey starts in like 2 weeks because of course it does.
It's exactly right. I know.
Every single time.
And put your Christmas trees up. We might as well prep for it now.
Exactly. Morning Sports Desk, powered by Pizza Ranch, FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.